Welcome to BookPilot, your destination for powerful ideas from the world's most impactful books. Today, we've got an absolutely game-changing explainer lined up for you. We're diving deep into Dr. Joe Dispenza's phenomenal book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. We're going to break down his core methods for literally reprogramming your brain. And honestly, the best part? We're going to map out exactly how you can kickstart this massive transformation in just 7 days. So, let's jump right in and completely flip how you look at your daily routine.
Think about this for a second. Are you already living in the past the exact moment you wake up? I mean, most of us open our eyes in the morning and instantly start stressing about our problems, right? But here's the catch. Those problems are tied to specific past memories, and those memories are tied to specific people and past experiences. Dr. Dispenza brilliantly points out that your brain is basically like this old tape recorder, just playing the exact same cassette over and over again. If your brain is just a record of the past, well, then the second you start your day, you are literally anchoring your mind in yesterday.
Which brings us to part 1, the trap of the past.
To really grasp how our daily habits physically trap us in our past identity, we just have to look at how painfully relatable our mornings actually are. I mean, here's how it usually goes down. You wake up, you instantly grab your phone, check Instagram, scroll through some emails, then you roll out of bed on the exact same side, drink coffee from your favorite cup, take the exact same route to work, and ultimately, you feel the exact same emotions. Your life has basically become as predictable as a running computer program. And the terrifying part of all this, you've kind of lost your free will to that program. It's no longer you running the show.
And we actually have the data to back this up. On average, we humans have about 60 to 70,000 thoughts in a single day. That's a lot, right? But here is the staggering part. 90% of those thoughts are the exact same thoughts you had the day before. Now, if your thoughts dictate your choices, and your choices dictate your behavior, then those same 90% of thoughts are just actively recreating the exact same life, a life you might not even like.
Let's move on to part 2, the subconscious computer program. So you might be wondering, why does simply wanting to change your life almost never work? Well, it all comes down to a massive imbalance in your mind. By the time we hit 35 years old, 95% of who we are is just a completely memorized set of behaviors, emotional reactions, and unconscious habits. It is literally hardwired right into us. That means your conscious mind, the part of you that actively wants to be healthier, happier, or wealthier, only makes up a tiny 5% of your operating system. The true nature of this battle is just completely lopsided. You are pitting your 5% conscious desires against 95% of deeply conditioned habits. It is literally like putting an average untrained guy up against an Olympic-level powerlifter in a weightlifting competition. So look, if you've ever felt guilty because you couldn't stick to a new habit, you really need to give yourself some grace. No wonder you couldn't make those changes stick. It's a completely rigged competition from the start.
All right, part 3, meditation as the gateway.
So how exactly do we level this playing field? Well, we use meditation. But we're not just using it to relax, we're using it as a deliberate, tactical hack to completely bypass your analytical mind. The word meditation literally means to become familiar with. The absolutely crucial point here is that by meditating, you're slowing down your brainwaves and sort of sneaking into your own operating system. You are becoming so intensely familiar with the thoughts, behaviors, and emotions of your old self that you stop letting those unwanted thoughts slip by unchecked. Basically, you catch them before they can even take root.
Think of creating your new self kind of like creating a new garden. First off, you got to get rid of all the weeds and the rocks. Then, you pull out the dead plants from the past year. Next, you prepare the fresh soil, and only after doing all that clearing out can you finally plant the new seeds. Meditation is simply the act of preparing that garden. You absolutely have to clear out the toxic, familiar past before you can cultivate a completely new state of being.
Which brings us to part 4, overcoming the body's resistance.
Now, this is where we hit the hardest part of the journey. This is where your own biology actively starts fighting against your conscious goals. You see, over the years, every single time you recalled a negative event, you produced the exact same chemistry in your brain and body as if the event was happening right then and there. Because of this, your body has basically been conditioned to crave negative emotions, like guilt and anger. Your body has essentially become your unconscious mind. It used to be the servant, but now it's become the master. And the exact moment you decide to step into the unknown to make a change, your body completely panics. It would actually rather feel familiar guilt and suffering than step into the unknown.
To your body, the unknown isn't some exciting new adventure. It's a deep, scary river. The body knows that if you succeed in crossing to the other side of that river, the old self is going to die. So, it'll do absolutely anything it can to stop you.
This is exactly why the second you try to sit down and meditate, your nose suddenly itches, or you remember some random email you forgot to send, or a completely random memory from 20 years ago pops into your head. Your body is basically saying, hey, it's 8 a.m. We normally read emails and get angry right now. What are you doing? Training your body is a lot like training a wild dog. You tell it to sit, it runs away. You catch it, you bring it back to the present moment. It runs away again, you bring it right back. You have to assert your will over the program until the body finally obeys.
And that leads us to part 5, downloading your future life.
Because when your body finally does obey, that's when the magic really happens. This is the precise mechanism for reprogramming your brain, once you've trained the body to surrender. To pull this off, we need to understand 2 different languages. First up, thoughts. Thoughts are the language of the brain. They're your mental software, the imaginative blueprint of the future life you're trying to create. When you mentally close your eyes and rehearse exactly who you want to be, your brain literally does not know the difference between your imagination and a real-life experience. You are literally installing new software.
But here's the thing, thoughts alone just aren't enough. Feelings are the language of the body, and this is the crucial missing puzzle piece. You have to teach your body emotionally what the future will feel like ahead of the actual experience. Because if you don't physically feel the emotion of that future, your body just isn't getting the message.
I absolutely love this analogy. Having the thought is kind of like having an internet modem sitting in your room. The thought is there, the modem is plugged in and on. But unless you physically feel the emotion, it's like you've turned off the Wi-Fi on your phone. You have a modem, but absolutely no connection. The exact moment you start feeling the emotions of your new thoughts, the Wi-Fi connects, and you can finally start downloading your future life.
Let's wrap this up with part 6, the 7-day challenge.
So, how do we bring all of this awesome theory into a practical, timeline-driven reality today? Well, the challenge from Dr. Dispenza is this. Try doing this for just 7 days. Practice this emotional rehearsal. Meditate to observe your thoughts and catch them before they just run on autopilot. If you commit to training that wild dog for just 1 single week, you're going to start seeing tangible differences in your life. You'll actually catch yourself avoiding that old, unhappy version of yourself. And when you do this, a massive energetic shift occurs. The moment your body surrenders and you finally break the chains of your past emotional state, there is a literal liberation of energy. You go from particle to wave, from matter to energy. You are freeing yourself from the familiar past so you can actively step into the quantum field of pure potential.
Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway from this entire framework. You no longer need to wait for your success to happen in order to feel successful. According to the quantum model of reality, feeling abundant and feeling worthy is the very thing that actually generates the wealth and success. You don't wait for the outer world to change your inner state, you change your inner state to dictate your outer world. You become the creator of your future rather than just a victim of your past. So I'm going to leave you with this question to ponder. What future will you start downloading today? It all starts with catching that first unwanted thought and actively choosing a different path. If you enjoyed this audiobook summary and want to discover more powerful ideas from great books, subscribe to BookPilot and stay tuned for more.